I've been doing a lot of videos lately here on my channel, just featuring some more budget-friendly ideas of what you can cook for you and your family, being that grocery prices have really gone up astronomically over the past few years. Today, I'm sharing with you what I bought from the grocery store using just $33, and I'm going to make 4 slow cooker meals out of these ingredients. All of these meals can be made for just $7 to $8 each. I'm going to be making a slow cooker potato soup, which turned out delicious. I am also making some chili dogs, which is a new to me method, and they turned out really, really good. I also made some chicken burrito bowls along with rice, and that was a family favorite. And then last but not least, a new to me recipe for sausage manicotti, which turned out really delicious as well. If you'd like the recipes for these meals, they will be linked down in the description box below. Let's get started. The total for all of these groceries from Walmart was $33.27. I think you could get it down even a little bit lower than that, which I'm going to give you some tips for as I show you what I got and how much everything was. But I had to do a little bit of substituting depending on what was available at my Walmart. So the first thing that I got were some hot dog buns. These are just plain white hot dog buns. We're going to use these for the crock pot chili dogs. These were 88 cents, which I think is a really great deal. I also got some garlic. I really only needed 1 large head of garlic for this recipe, but I could not find it on the Walmart website. I ordered all of these via pickup. If I went into the store, I might have been able to get like a single garlic clove, but that's okay. I'll have extra garlic, and 3 cloves of garlic are $1.54. I got 2 onions. We're going to use these for a couple of different recipes. These ended up being $1.09 for 2 of those. And then they did substitute on the potatoes a little bit. So I ordered 2 pounds of russet potatoes. They gave me about 1.5 pounds of red potatoes and then 1 russet potato. I did weigh these on my kitchen scale, and it's pretty close to 2 pounds, so it'll work out fine. That's what I need for the potato soup. And the total for these was 75 cents. I also got some cilantro. This is a rather large bunch of cilantro, so I was happy to see that. At my Walmart, this is 78 cents. And then I got some sour cream. I did get the smaller container because I only needed this for a couple recipes. And this is an 8-ounce container of sour cream, and this is 97 cents at Walmart. And then for the sausage manicotti, I did get some cottage cheese. I needed 2 cups of that, so I was glad to see that they had a 2-cup container of the cottage cheese in stock. I got the Great Value brand, obviously, which I've purchased this cottage cheese before, and it's pretty good, and this was $1.28. I need 2 cups of milk for the potato soup, and I could not find a container that was smaller than this, so I just ended up getting half a gallon, and I did pay a couple cents more for the whole milk as opposed to the 2% milk. This was $1.69. And then I was happy to see that they had the manicotti noodles in stock, the Great Value brand. So these were $1.26, which is definitely cheaper than the Barilla version. I got some sausage for the manicotti dish. I went ahead and got the Great Value, just original breakfast sausage. The recipe didn't really specify what type of sausage, so I just used the one that was most economical. This was $1.94, which I think is a really great price. And then I needed 1 pound of ground beef for the chili dog recipe. Now, you could definitely go cheaper on this ground beef. I personally don't like to get any less than 80-20. They do have 70, I think it was 73-27 ground beef at Walmart. But at that point, there's just so much fat in it that I feel like you're paying for, you're just paying for less and less beef as you up the fat content. So I went ahead and went with the 80-20, but if you wanted to get a higher fat content of meat, you could do that even cheaper. But this was $3.77, so I think that was probably the most expensive thing that I purchased. I got some rice for the chicken burrito bowls. This is a really great deal at Walmart. I've got this before for my different budget videos, and this is 72 cents. And this definitely, I would say it's 1 pound of rice. I would say it definitely feeds 4 people with a little bit left over. The chicken was also cheaper than I thought it was going to be. These are the chicken breast tenderloins. They were cheaper per pound than the other varieties, and it's still expensive, $4.46. So this was $5.31. I stand corrected expected about the ground beef. Obviously the chicken was a little bit more, but this is going to be for the chicken burrito bowls. I got a package of hot dogs for the slow cooker chili dogs. These are $2.12. They're the Oscar Mayer brand. Now you can buy hot dogs for $1 a package at Walmart. I don't know why. I just have this thing where I feel like I can't buy the cheapest brand of hot dogs. Obviously I would if I had to, but just know that if you're okay with the $1 like bar S, is that what they're called? I don't know, hot dogs. You can get those for $1, but I went ahead and decided to spend the extra $1, paid $2.12 for those. And then the chicken burrito bowl called for some salsa, and it only called for 8 ounces. So I was trying to find the smallest container I could just to make it cheaper. And I used actually some of this in my last budget meals video, except it was the green salsa, but this time I got the red, and this was 72 cents. So I think that's a great deal. I also got some crushed tomatoes. So I decided that instead of buying marinara sauce for the manicotti, I would just go ahead and make my own. I actually have a recipe for that in my cookbook, which I'll link down below, but it's super easy. You basically just use crushed tomatoes, onion, garlic, olive oil, whatever seasonings you have. And the great thing about crushed tomatoes is that they're only 87 cents a can. So that's great. I got some tomato sauce. I believe this is for the chili dogs. And this is also a really great deal at Walmart, is 72 cents. And then I also got some diced tomatoes with green chilies. This is like Rotel, the mild version, the Walmart brand. And this is also a great deal at Walmart. It is only 68 cents. That's going to be for the chicken as well. I accidentally got seasoned black beans. I just meant to get regular black beans. And the actual recipe calls for 2 cans, but I felt like for 4 people that 1 can was enough. So this was 72 cents for this. Okay, so the chicken burrito bowl recipe also called for 1 cup of frozen corn. I decided instead to get just a small can of corn because I only needed a cup, and this was 46 cents, whereas I believe the frozen corn was, I think, around 77 cents. And then I did get some cheese. So I actually think that this 1 pound block of whole milk mozzarella at Walmart is a really great deal. It is only $2.37, and it's twice the size of one of these regular blocks. So I think that's a great deal. We're going to use that obviously for the manicotti and then a couple of the other recipes. And then I also got some sharp cheddar cheese. I'll be shredding this for a couple of different recipes, and an 8-ounce block of this is $2.08. Before we get into the recipes, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Acorn TV. I've been working with Acorn TV for quite a while here on my channel, and if you're not familiar with them, they are the largest commercial-free British streaming service, and they offer compelling stories, exclusive premieres, and originals that you won't find anywhere else. There's always something new to discover on Acorn TV. It has hundreds of exclusive shows from around the world, including award-winning series across genres, including mysteries, dramas, comedies, and so much more. The best part is with Acorn TV, you get access to premium commercial-free international content for a fraction of the cost compared to most streaming services. It's just $5.99 a month. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like for all of my other streaming services, every month the price is going up. It's ridiculous. You can download the app and watch it online via your Apple or Android device. You can also watch it on Amazon Fire TV, Google Chromecast, Roku, and more. And you'll never run out of content because Acorn TV adds new releases every Monday. One show I wanted to point out is Queens of Mystery. It's an Acorn TV original that premiered on January 10th. It follows the adventures of 3 crime-writing sisters, Beth, Kat, and Jane, and their 28-year-old niece, Detective Sergeant Maddie Stone. Using their knowledge of crime, they work together to solve murders, but no matter how many cases they are able to crack, the unsolved mystery that haunts all of the characters is that of Maddie's mother's disappearance 25 years ago. I wanted to mention also that the movie Help is also available on Acorn TV. This has received a lot of positive reviews and attention, and I highly recommend watching it. I actually started watching it this past week and I need to finish it. But one thing that I always do while I'm in my kitchen cooking or just doing chores around the house, I'm always either watching or listening to something on my phone, and Acorn TV is perfect for that because their app is super easy to use and I can just pop my AirPods in, and sometimes I run out of things to watch on YouTube, believe it or not. So I need to escape into some TV shows as well. So if you guys want to try out Acorn TV, you can actually try it out free for 30 days, which is a fantastic deal. trial, you can go to acorn.tv and use promo code JEN to get your free trial. Again, you can try Acorn TV for 30 days free. You can go to acorn.tv and use promo code JEN. I'll have the link and all of the information in the description box below. We are going to start out with some crock-pot potato soup. Potato soup is one of my favorite things, and since it's always 5 degrees here in Iowa, it's perfect. This recipe actually comes out to a little bit less than $7, which I think is a fantastic deal. So I've got my crock-pot here. You will need 1 onion, about 2 pounds of potatoes, some cheddar cheese. I think we're just going to use about a cup of this, some milk. I have some chicken broth here. You can use either chicken or veggie broth. I always keep the powdered bouillon in my spice cabinet so that I always have it on hand. 4 tablespoons of butter, garlic, about a 1/4 cup of flour, some sour cream. We're gonna use about half the sour cream for this recipe, and then the other half we'll use for the chicken burrito bowls, and then I've got some salt and pepper. So I definitely don't think that you need to peel your potatoes for potato soup, but I prefer to. So that's what I'm gonna do, and then I'm just gonna dice them into small pieces. I do have an idea for a modification of this recipe. If you wanted to make it into a freezer meal, I would actually just substitute a bag of frozen hash browns instead of the potatoes if you wanted to use like the cubed hash browns, and then you could put everything into your Ziploc bag and cook it that way. I'm gonna go ahead and chop up my onion. You could probably get away with half an onion for this. I'm gonna go ahead and use the whole onion since I don't necessarily need it for the other recipes, but you could get away with a smaller one if you needed to. Okay, I've got 4 garlic cloves, and I'm just gonna smash these and mince them up. I put the onions in the crock pot, and then next we'll chop up the potatoes. Okay, so in my slow cooker, I've got my onions, garlic, and potatoes, and I'm just gonna pour in 4 cups of broth, and then I'm gonna cook this on high for 3 to 4 hours. Here is what our potato soup looks like. Well, it's not potato soup yet, but it's gonna be. After cooking for about 3 hours, everything is tender, and I'm going to go ahead and thicken the soup now. So I've got half a stick of butter in here, and I'm gonna add in my flour. It's a 1/4 cup, and basically we're just making a white sauce to thicken the potato soup with. So I'm gonna cook this together for just maybe a minute to get the raw taste out of the flour. And then I'm going to add 2 cups of my whole milk. I'm gonna go ahead and add my white sauce mixture to the pan, or to the slow cooker rather. And then I've got 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese I'm gonna add. I also added my my half a cup of sour cream. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper, and then I'm just gonna stir this until everything is melted and combined. Okay, so the last step is to use an immersion blender to blend this soup up a little bit. You don't want to puree it completely, just kind of thicken it a little bit. Now, I feel like if you don't have an immersion blender or you don't want to mess with this step, I think it would be fine without, but since I have one, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Okay, so this turned out so good. I did add a little bit of extra pepper, but yeah, I would definitely recommend this recipe. I don't know if I've made potato soup in the slow cooker before. If I have, it's been quite a long time. But either way, this is really good. Highly recommend. It makes a huge batch for really cheap. So I'm gonna put it in a bowl and I'll show you the finished product. All right, so here's our finished product. Potato soup. I added just a tiny bit of cheese to the top. There's already cheese in the soup, so it doesn't need a lot. And some bacon bits I had in my fridge, and some green onions. If you don't have that stuff on hand, obviously you can leave it out. Probably eat this with some crackers and have a delicious bowl of potato soup. And that's good because it's cold outside. The next recipe we are going to make is coney dogs chili, what's the recipe? Chili coney dogs in the slow cooker. This is kind of exciting because everyone loves chili dogs, and you actually cook everything together in the crock pot. So I'm kind of excited about this. So over here I have some water. I have 1 yellow onion. We're definitely not going to use the whole thing. It's just, I'm going to chop up a little bit for the topping. We're actually going to use some of this cheese also, again, to top them with just a little, some hot dogs. I've also got a pound of ground beef for the chili part, and then I've got Worcestershire, chili powder, minced onion, garlic powder, mustard powder, some cayenne, and that can of tomato sauce, and then I've also got my hot dog buns. I'm browning up my ground beef here in a skillet. I've just seasoned it with some salt and pepper. I'll have to see when this is done if I'm going to drain it. I might, just because it's 80-20 ground beef. And then after that's done cooking, I'll mix in the rest of the chili ingredients. And then I've got my crock pot ready here with my hot dogs in the bottom. I'm going to cook this on high for probably 3 hours. The recipe says to cook it on low for 4 to 5, but this is an older crock pot, and so it doesn't run quite as hot as some of the newer ones. In with the drained beef, I'm going to add my 1 can of tomato sauce, half a cup of water, and then I've got all of my spices in this bowl right here. So I'll just kind of stir this up, cook it for a little bit, and then we'll top the hot dogs in the crock pot. So carefully try to pour this in here without making a huge mess. All right, I'm gonna put the lid on this and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so I thought I would share this with you guys, even though it doesn't look very pretty, before we eat it all. But essentially this turned out really neat. I've never made chili dogs like this before, but basically you get this like chili sauce with hot dogs cooked in it. So let me plate this up and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this recipe makes 8 chili dogs, and it, like, the sauce slash chili to hot dog ratio is perfect. I just shredded up a little bit of the cheddar cheese that I had and chopped up some onion and put that on top. So I think this is a really, honestly, great budget-friendly meal for serving 4 people or more. If you have, if you have kids that will only eat 1 chili dog, then that would work too. It would feed even more people. Put some chips or some fries on the side, and you have a super simple, cheap dinner that's really delicious. I highly recommend. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna make is a slow cooker Southwest chicken. I think I might have called it a burrito bowl before, which it basically is. So back here I have some chicken breast tenderloins. This was the cheapest per pound that I could get at Walmart. However, if you went to a traditional grocery store, the actual original recipe calls for 2 cans of beans and only half a pound of chicken, so you could save even more money if you wanted to do it that way. I've also got some black beans. I've got 1 can of salsa, some Great Value Rotel, it's the diced tomatoes with green chilies, some corn. I also have some fresh cilantro we can use to top our bowls with, and then I've got a lime, some rice, parsley flake, I've got cumin down there, and then we can also top with some sour cream and a little bit of the extra cheese we have left. To the slow cooker, I'm gonna add my rinsed and drained black beans. 2 cups of broth. I'm using chicken broth. I use the Knorr chicken flavor bouillon. Okay, we're gonna add the can of Rotel and then my can of salsa. Okay, I'm also gonna add my corn. I added my chicken tenders to here, and now I'm gonna add about 1 tablespoon of parsley. Dry parsley. Next, I'm gonna add about 1 teaspoon of ground cumin and then some ground pepper, and then I also added some salt as well, just to make sure it was well seasoned. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on this, and I'm gonna cook this on high. Probably not gonna take 4 hours. This crock pot runs pretty hot, so I'm assuming it'll probably take about 2 to 3 hours, but we'll let this cook, and then once this is almost done, I'll show you how I'm gonna cook the rice. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys my favorite way, or one of my favorite ways to make rice. I've got a 9x13 dish here with about 2 tablespoons of butter, and then this 1 pound bag of rice, exactly 2 cups, which is how much you need. So I'm gonna add that to the dish. And then I'm also gonna add a little bit of salt, and in my kettle, I've got 3 cups of water boiling. I'm gonna combine everything in the dish, cover this with foil, and bake it for 30 minutes. It makes the most perfect rice. You can also do this with brown rice. You just have to bake it for twice as long. Okay, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt. And you can add other things to this to flavor it if you want. This recipe is actually in my cookbook, and I think there's a recipe in there for cilantro lime rice and then one other one with edamame, I think. But you can flavor this however you want it. We're gonna put foil on this and I'm gonna pop this in the oven for about half an hour. So after the rice is done, you have to do a couple things. So first, remove it from the oven and take off the foil, and then you want to just fluff it with a fork and allow it to stand uncovered for 5 minutes before you serve it. That will ensure that the rice isn't clumpy or sticky. Okay, so I have to say this smells really, really good. I'm going to remove the chicken to a bowl and just shred it up a little bit before I return it to the crock pot. This does have quite a bit of liquid in it, but obviously you can use a slotted spoon to get everything out before you combine it with the rice. So let me fix this up and I'll show you what it looks like. I've got a shallow bowl here. I'm just gonna put a couple of scoops of rice in the bottom. And then, like I said, I have a slotted spoon for the chicken. I don't mind if there is a little bit of the juice in there. I just don't want it to be, you know, soupy. Although it probably would make a good soup. It smells really good. So I've actually got quite a bit of cheese left over, some mozzarella and some cheddar. So I'm just gonna sprinkle some of that on top. There's a chunk in there of cheese. It didn't get grated. What else? I'm gonna put some sour cream on the top. I have just enough left for 4 servings of that, and then some cilantro. This is Adam, so I better not put too much. He doesn't like a ton. A ton of cilantro, and then we will garnish it with a lime. All right, so this turned out so delicious. Highly recommend this recipe. I'll definitely be making it again. I like how the chicken and the beans and the corn, everything's cooked together, so it makes it super quick and easy. And honestly, this would be a really good meal prep too, because you could portion this out and it would be super easy to, you know, take to work and reheat during the week, because rice reheats really well too. And you could add anything to this: salsa, jalapenos, sour cream, cheese, etc. Really good. All right, so we're gonna make sausage manicotti, and I've made manicotti before several times, but I've never made it like this, so I'm excited to try this particular method. I've got my box of manicotti shells from Walmart. These are an awesome value there. I've also got some Italian seasoning, and then instead of using a jarred marinara, I'm gonna make my own. So I've got a can of crushed tomatoes, some garlic, some onion, some olive oil. That is cheaper than buying. A lot of times, depending on what you have on hand at home, that's cheaper than buying marinara sauce. I've also got some sausage here, some garlic, I can't remember if I said that, some sugar, just 1 teaspoon for the marinara sauce, some cottage cheese, and some mozzarella cheese, which I will be shredding for the recipe. So this recipe idea wasn't traditionally a slow cooker recipe. I'm actually going to be meal prepping this, but then I'm also going to bake a portion so I can tell you guys how it is, but I'll kind of show you throughout how you could modify it to be a slow cooker recipe. Okay, so I'm going to start with the marinara sauce first. So I've got a skillet here. I'm just going to put a couple tablespoons of olive oil in the bottom, and definitely if you want to use marinara sauce, if you have some on hand, definitely feel free to do that with this recipe. I was just trying to stick within a particular budget. So I have half an onion left here from our other recipes. I'm gonna dice this up pretty small. I don't want super large chunks in my sauce. Okay, and then I'm gonna need 3 cloves of garlic. Okay, I'm just gonna mince this up rather than do my garlic press, because then I don't have to wash it. All right, so I've got my onions and garlic here just over a medium heat. I'm gonna saute them until they are translucent. Don't do it over too high of a heat or you'll burn it. And then I've got my boiling water here. I'm just gonna drop in the manicotti noodles. And I'm just gonna boil these for about 9 minutes. The water is salted. I wanna cook them, but I want them still to be a little bit al dente because they're gonna continue to cook in the oven. My onions are done, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my crushed tomatoes. And then in this bowl, I've got 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning and 1 teaspoon of sugar. And I've already added my salt, which was 1 teaspoon. So I'm just gonna stir this around and let it heat through. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is remove my pasta carefully. I don't want to tear it. And I've got a baking sheet over here that I just lined with foil, and I sprayed it with cooking spray just so the pasta wouldn't stick to it. And what I want to do is just spread these out so that they can cool, because obviously we have to stuff them and we can't do that if they're super duper hot. I may have even boiled these too long. We'll see. Probably could have gone with 7 or 8 minutes, but what are you gonna do? Live and learn, right? Okay, so this is kind of the different part of this recipe, but we're gonna try it out. So I've got 1 pound of my sausage in here. I'm gonna combine that with 2 cups of cottage cheese. Combine it, stir it together, and then that's what we're gonna use to stuff the manicotti. So I'll probably put it into like a Ziploc bag and then cut the corner off, and we'll stuff them that way. Okay, so what you want to do is use your bag or your piping bag, whatever, to fill the filling in from one side and then turn it around and fill the other side so that it gets all the way through to the middle. And then just repeat for the remaining manicotti. Okay, so now we can assemble everything. The marinara sauce is done. I just let it simmer for probably about 5 to 10 minutes. You can let it simmer longer if you want. And if it gets too thick, just add, you know, a couple tablespoons of water. Taste, add seasoning as you would like. I didn't add any. I thought it was perfect. And then I've got my stuffed manicotti here, and then I've got a dish we're gonna assemble these in. So first I'm gonna add some sauce to the bottom of the dish just so things don't stick. And this made 12 manicotti, by the way, so pretty good amount. I'm just gonna place these in here, and obviously the different thing about this recipe is that you're putting the sausage in inside the pasta raw. You haven't cooked it yet, so you really have to make sure that you cover this and bake it for about an hour, and then I would recommend using a meat thermometer to check the internal temperature after you let it rest before you eat them, just to make sure that everything is cooked properly. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just pour the rest of the sauce over the top. Now, what I would recommend in terms of cooking this in a slow cooker, you definitely can. So what I would do is I would just, again, spread, you know, use a large slow cooker, like the one with the largest bottom that you have, so that you have more surface area to cook this. I would spread marinara sauce on the bottom of the slow cooker, put your manicotti down there, you know, pour the rest of the marinara sauce on the top, cook it, and then I would probably cook it, again, use a meat thermometer because I haven't tried this yet, so cook it to an internal temperature of 160 because it's pork. But I would probably cook this in a slow cooker for, I would probably do 4 hours on low and then check it. That would probably be good enough to make sure that it's cooked through. But like I said, I'm actually preparing, or I'm sorry, yeah, I guess I'm prepping this for later. You could even freeze it at this point. I'm gonna cook this large batch later in the week, but I definitely wanna try it for you guys and show, you know, and tell you how it is. So I did prepare just a smaller dish with 2 in here. I'm gonna bake that now. So I'm gonna cover this up. I have my oven set at 375 and I'm gonna bake this for an hour. So the last step of the manicotti is to top with cheese, and I have my mozzarella here. I just decided to shred it in the food processor because it makes super quick work of it, and there's a lot of cheese there. Okay, so our manicotti has cooked for an hour. I'm just gonna top it with some of the mozzarella and then pop it back in the oven for like 10 minutes. Okay, so here is our manicotti. It's still kind of hot, but I just wanted to show it to you guys. So we're gonna take one out and give it a try. It smells really good. Okay, so I have to say, this is definitely a winner. The sausage on the inside is cooked and the cheese on the outside is melted. Highly recommend this recipe. I think it was super easy not having to, you know, brown the sausage. And you could even try it with like Italian sausage or, you know, whatever kind of sausage that you wanted to try it with. I think it would be great. Awesome dinner. All right, so that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Don't forget to check out Acorn TV. I'll have that link in the description box below where you can go and get your free 30-day trial. I hope that you guys try out some of these recipes. Honestly, they were all really good, but if I had to choose my favorite, I think it would be the chili dogs. It was just such a great way to make those super quick and easy and convenient. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.